Hello, everyone. I'm Alli, also known as blogger, influencer, Absolutely Alli, and welcome to the Socialpreneur podcast. This is the first episode because I wanted to let you all know what this podcast is all about, as well as let you all know a little bit about me and what to expect. I'm super, super excited about this podcast that I'm going to be doing because I think it can help anybody that is in the social media field or anybody that wants to be in the social media field. The reason I'm starting this is because I've learned a lot of things as I've been an influencer and as I have learned a lot about social media that I want to share with you. But also, I want to bring in other people that have been game changers in the social media business to give you tips and tricks and ideas of what you can do for yourself in order to be successful being a socialpreneur yourself. So, like I said, I am Allison, or Absolutely Alli. I have a blog that is called Absolutely Alli with corresponding social media channels and a blog or website. I started my blog about 7 years ago when a lot of people didn't even know what social media influencers were. So, how I got started is I had a regular Instagram page like most people. It's just like my friends and my family that I kind of interacted with other people on. I started to follow other influencers and bloggers because I thought it was really, really cool. And I started to get tips and tricks and stuff from them, like outfits and beauty products and anything that you can think of that's out there on social media. So one day it kind of clicked that I wanted to do this, but I didn't jump right on it. Like it was like, oh, I want to do this. I think this would be fun. I wonder if you can make money from it. So it took me a couple months after I kind of thought about that to actually, bite the bullet and start another Instagram page, which I did. So I had my personal one and then I started the Absolutely Alli one. Didn't tell anybody about it because I wasn't sure that I wanted to go full force into this. I really didn't know what I was doing. And, like a lot of people, if they failed, they don't want other people to know. So I started that page. I started putting pictures on there. I started doing more research about blogging and what it was and what social media influencing was. And I kind of just started putting pictures up there. I got a blog on Blogger, started writing blog posts and just didn't really tell anybody, just kind of sat with it and kind of kept doing it. And then one day, one of my friends came, we were out to dinner or something. One of my friends was like, do you have two Instagram pages? And I was like, yeah. So I had to kind of start telling her what I was doing. So at that time is when Instagram kind of suggested people to you. So I guess it suggested her to me because we were friends personally. So then my other friends started to seeing that I was doing this. So I kind of had to let the cat out of the bag and start telling people what it was that I was trying to do and why I wanted to do it. So I say that to say this, like, it's okay to start something and not tell everybody just yet, just to kind of lay it out to figure out what you want to do and how far you want to go with it. So once I let the cat out of the bag, I really thought, okay, well, I got to do this. I'm going to do this. So I went full force into being an influencer and a blogger. So I really did my research and looked into how to grow your social media, how to get more engagement, how to get more followings, about SEOs, alt text, all the words. And I know I'm using some words that a lot of people may not know, but I did my research on it. I followed other bloggers. I saw what they were doing and I tried to mirror that. And I just learned a lot of things that I took with me in this business and started to grow. So since I learned all of these things, I thought that I wanted to share it with other people. As I became an influencer and as I build my brand over the last 7 years, I was like, I want to put everything that I learned into a book and then maybe a master course. So I wrote a book just recently called The Business of Blogging and Social Media Influencing. And so that just came out a month and a half ago or so, maybe in September, came out in September. And then I took that and made a master course with a 10-part video to teach people how to use social media to build their brand and their business. So the book and the master class is not necessarily just for bloggers. It's not just for influencers. It's for business people, boutiques, hairstylist. It could be an insurance agency, doctor's office. It's for anyone that wants to use social media to build their brand and to build their business. So I'm teaching them how to get more eyes on what they are either trying to sell or what they are either trying to promote. So I'm telling everybody from step point A of where I started with no knowledge at all, but just how to use a personal Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest page, to all the way of how to use a business page, but growing it, actually getting clients, actually getting people to respond, interact, people to buy things. I learned how to monetize my social media. And that is what most people want to learn. They want to learn how to use social media for business. So think about those boutiques that are doing online sales. Social media has been one of the best things for them because you can link all of the stuff you're trying to sell through your social media, and you don't even, which might be a bad thing, you don't even have to necessarily interact with them, but they're getting all the tools that they need through your social media, through your online courses, through all that engagement on social media. So I kind of grown from saying that I am so much of an influencer and a blogger to more of a coach. Yes, I still hold that title of being the influencer and being the blogger, and I still do blog posts and I still work with brands as an influencer, and I still make a income from that. And the book and the course will teach you how to make an income from that. But I also have changed my brand a little bit to also being a coach and trying to help other people. I really truly enjoy that. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast too, because this way I kind of get to interact with you all more. I am a coach and I do one-on-one sessions with people, but this way I can bring in some other experts to tell you how their story started and how they got to the way they are, how they got the business that they have, and how they used social media in order to grow that business, in order to make that business profitable. So social media is the biggest thing right now. It's the biggest thing that people are using to market their business and brand. It used to be billboards, newspapers, commercials, things like that. All of those are still relevant, but not as relevant as social media. You need to be using your social media in order to grow exponentially your business. So, with this podcast, like I said, what I want to bring you is I want to bring you tips and tricks. So, the ones that I've learned, and each podcast, I'm going to give you a tip in every podcast so that you can start using it yourself in order to grow your business. I also want to talk about in this podcast, I want to talk about trends, whether that's trends in Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. TikTok is booming right now. Not necessarily saying that you have to use TikTok, but I want to talk about trends in order in each platform, but as well as overall trends in social media, like what you need to be doing or what you need to be looking out for. Also, I want to talk about like changes as far as social media. A lot of people talk about algorithms with Facebook and Instagram. So I want to talk about and dive into those in certain sessions that I do with this podcast. What else can you expect? You can expect me to have people on here that I interview. So each podcast that I do besides this one, I will have a special guest. I want different guests such as influencers, influencers that are in like the beauty industry, influencers that are in the food industry, travel influencers, fashion influencer, any kind of influencer that you can expect. I want to have different ones on here so that they can tell their story, so that your questions can be answered from them. I also want to have on here brands that work with influencers and people in the industry. So I've worked with a lot of different brands being an influencer. So I want to bring some of those brands on, ones that I've worked with, ones I haven't worked with, that other people have worked with, and then also brands that want to work with influencers and are trying to be able to break into that kind of industry and work with them. I also want to talk about and interview people that work for influencer platforms. I want to interview somebody from influencer agencies. I want to talk to PR marketing, like exec or owners. And I have a lot of people in mind in order to do this. So I want them to give you all as well as tips and tricks so that you can use this in order to build your brand and your business. Other people I want to talk to are people that have online stores that are using social media to sell their products, and so that people that are listening to this podcast can learn how to use social media to either start their online store or how to build their Shopify or how to build any other e-commerce platform in order to sell your stuff online. I want to talk to people that have brick and mortar, but that are also using social media just to get people in the door, not necessarily to get people to buy on social, but they're using social as part of their advertising platform so that they can let them know what they have actually in their store. So then that kind of draws them in. There are so many things in this podcast, the Socialpreneur podcast, that I want to talk about. But what I want to ask everybody with this one that I'm doing first is, what do you all want to see? Many of the questions I get asked is, how do you monetize? So definitely I'm going to talk about that on the podcast. And I want to talk to companies that help monetize bloggers and influencers. But another question I get is, how do you grow? How do you get engagement? But what do you all want to see? I mean, it could be as basic as how to set up a Facebook business page, or how to set up an influencer business page, or even how to comment. I mean, you think most people know how to just comment and like and save and share, but there's some people that might not know that. So there's no question that's too small or too silly. So if you have questions, definitely submit them at Alli, Alli, at Absolutely Alli, because I want to answer some of those and give you all some shout outs for that. Also, I want to talk about different apps. Their apps are great, and how that apps can build your socialpreneur empire. So let me know some of your favorite apps, or some of the apps you want me to talk about of how to use. And then let me know if there is specific people that you want to actually see on this podcast. So I have some influencers in mind. I have some brands in mind, and I have some friends and stuff that I want to interview that I've known from the industry. But I want to know who you want to see there. I do not know everybody, and there's so many. Please send those people to me, because I would love to reach out to them, because I want to interview them and get their name out there and get the word out to you all about what they're doing. And so if there's anything else you would like to see on the podcast, definitely let me know. I'm excited. I think this will evolve as we go along. This is just the first episode. So like I said, as I continue to do this, there'll be more things that I might add to this, and more people that I might add to this. There'll be a tip each week of what you can do to help you with social media. And also, I want to, if you're listening to this and you have things on your social media that you think would be pertinent to a Socialpreneur podcast, please hashtag Absolutely Alli, or hashtag Socialpreneur, or hashtag, this is going to be the Socialpreneur podcast. So hashtag Socialpreneur podcast. And I can also find things that way. So if you have some tips and tricks that you think other people would enjoy, that you are okay with me sharing on here, please hashtag Socialpreneur podcast, and I'll make sure that I share those with other people. So this has been a labor of love. I'm excited to get this started. I'm excited for you all to hear and see everything that is going to happen with this podcast. So stay tuned for our next episode, and we'll have a guest, hopefully from here on out on all of these podcasts. And hopefully, this will be something to help you grow your business in order for you to become a socialpreneur. So, I will see you next time.